Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming. First of all, I'd like to remind you that masks are required in this room. So if you have one around your neck, it needs to go up over your nose. If you don't have one at all, there are some on the table in the back. So thank you for complying with that. All right, it's 10 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And I would like to invite Pastor Leslie to give our invocation.
Good morning. Let us pray. Most gracious God, we thank you for the beautiful weather and the blooming flowers and trees. Our neighborhood is lovely this time of year, and we are grateful. We pray for our nation and our world, and the hearts of the violent would be softened, and your mercy would sustain them in their vitriol. We ask your blessings on our work here at the Hearthstone. Bless our council that we might do works worthy of each task. Bless our community and keep us mindful of the ways we can serve. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. All right, before we launch into the agenda, I just want to note that a number of people were not able to be here this morning, including Meg and Allison, and a few other people on the agenda. So I will be switching hats as we go and giving reports on behalf of those people. The first thing we need to do is approve the minutes from the last meeting. There were a few corrections. Most of them were minor and involved grammar or spelling. There was only one word change on page 2 where it read Employee Assistance Fund, and that was changed to the Employee Appreciation Fund. All the rest are just very minor details. So with that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes. Okay. All right, motion made and seconded. All in favor of approving those minutes, say aye. And opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Thank you. The treasurer's report for Allison. Marnie has that for us.
And can I ask, as Meg said she's going to use the recording to make the current minutes, but who seconded Teresa's? Oh, thank you. All right. Thank you. So the report from Allison is that $81.24 was paid out for library expenditures in April. And the current account balance is $1,975.08.
And anything on the Employee Appreciation Fund that you want to say?
Just a reminder that there are a lot of little sayings you'll see go by, but that gratitude is one of the biggest ways to improve your life by being grateful. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, from the Hearthstone Management, we have a great representation, and we'll start off with Hallie, talking about the new updated COVID protocols.
Good morning, everyone. So you may not have seen it yet. This just went out yesterday evening. So what we have found is that for independent living, CDC as well as King County Department of Health has no requirements whatsoever for independent living. So that being said, we've taken a really hard look at what our current practice is, and we have decided to halt any surveillance testing. So in the event that an independent living resident becomes positive, we still ask that you contact the front desk, let them know. If you need test kits, we're more than happy to bring you as many as you need. We will not be doing exposure surveillance testing anymore. So again, as an independent living resident, if you become positive and you know that you had exposure to other residents the night before or within the leading days up to your positive test, we are expecting that you either ask us for help to reach out to those residents or you contact them yourself. Exposure would be within 6 feet of each other for a period of 15 minutes or longer without masks on. So that being said, that's how we're gonna move forward. Does anybody have any questions on that?
How many COVID incidents do we have at this time?
For independent living?
Correct.
2.
Okay, and in the whole building?
The question was, how many positive independent living residents do we currently have? And the answer is 2 in all 3 buildings.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, Hallie. And Reggie, you are up next. Thank you.
Good morning. It's good to see all of you. I actually really don't have much to say, imagine that. But I brought this as a prop because I met yesterday with Steve and Elaine. It was our first substantive meeting prior to one of these sessions. And of course, last week they met with the resident council, which is all the floor chairs, as well as all the leadership. And so this was my to-do list from that meeting. Nothing I really need to report on now. I just want to emphasize the fact that the system works. And Elaine and Steve are doing a great job of communicating with all of you, especially floor chairs, resident council, and then coming to me. And we're going to continue to meet weekly. I think that's the best way for us to stay in touch with what's going on. So the only other thing I'll say is I'll put in a cheap plug for, we are doing the survey presentation after this meeting. We're going to need about 10 minutes to make some stage changes. That'll give everybody a chance to use the facilities if you so desire, if you're here for this meeting and you want to come back for the other one. So it's hard to say what time that'll be because it depends on when this meeting ends. But we'd love to have all of you here. We'll entertain as many questions as we can. But Hallie has done an amazing job of putting together a really nice PowerPoint. And so that should help us. And then we can follow up with any details on that. Okay? Thank you. I don't see Tim. It's not the first time that you blended into the crowd and I couldn't see you. Because I'm older. Okay, you said that. I did say that.
And Tim is up. Tell us the latest happenings in the
Irrigation woes. Wow.
irrigation. Oh, whoa.
Okay, click. Yep. Got it. No, I think I'm good. I got the power. I'm not going to start with irrigation. I'm going to start with something else. I want to end with irrigation. It's going to get hot this weekend, okay? So I'm asking everybody to be careful, okay? I'm already working with the team to get some supplemental AC out. And you should see a lot of activity today with Chris, Roger, and Andy putting out some of the fans and things like that. 80 degrees potentially by tomorrow, 80 degrees potentially on Saturday. So protect yourself when you do go out and don't get heat stroke, please. Safety and security. I want to talk about, and I better open this for that. Safety and security, a couple of things, and this is primarily over in front of the coves. There was a very disturbing situation that happened on Monday morning, and I want to share with you what was occurring and how the response flowed that you may not see behind the scenes and stuff like that. We had a gentleman that was having a very obvious mental issue on Monday morning, and this was about 12:25 in the morning. And how I know that is because Diana, as soon as she sees situations like that, she's communicating out to the entire team. So when I wake up first thing in the morning, I see those kinds of reports. If it's really serious, she's going to be calling me up directly, kind of thing. So by 12:25, we already knew that there was a situation occurring. Some of the things that Diana was doing, she wanted to protect herself too. The individual's out there just hollering, having a really hard time. She was over at the bridge, lights out, so she could observe safely what was occurring. In the meantime, residents are calling. We are calling 911, things like that. We're calling Keep the Peace, on and on. So by 6:30 in the morning, Keep the Peace was sending me their report, how they responded and things like that. And then by 9 o'clock in the morning, even though it was his day off, Reggie Stewart, our security officer, was providing me a more detailed report of some of the things that occurred. So that's a normal flow for us. The situation isn't normal, but we do have some individuals who do have some mental problems out there, okay? So be aware. Also with that, weather's great, sun's setting later, we're out more. Be careful of your surroundings. Always be aware, be diligent, and be observant, okay? And if you have any issues, call 911, call the front desk, call security 5555, whatever method you need to get help your way if you do need help. With that, we are moving forward with trying to make the doors over there a little more secure. And Andy was working on that yesterday. He'll continue today. And there was one big safety issue with the alley over there. He's already done some painting on the curbing. It's hopeful that then the parked cars will observe it and park far enough back where you could see around those corners better, okay? So, yes?
Did the police respond?
The police did respond. Okay, so that's the piece. 911 was called. So in the interim, police were called. They were out here doing their own patrols. And the individual did move along ultimately. But it sounds like this is an individual that on occasion has these issues. Irrigation woes. Oh my God. Okay, so first, I think the last time I was here was March. I think I missed April. I took a week off. So last time I was here in March, and I made a very bold statement. Anybody remember what it was? See, I get some head nods. I said that water would be flowing, and I think I gave an exact date of by the 26th of April. Anybody seen water flowing? Neither have I. So I'll just talk about it a little bit. We've had the city out here numerous times over the past couple weeks, helping us identify and ensuring that we were looking in the correct places for some things. We had already figured out where we believed the main water supply was coming into the irrigation. So that was our starting point, and then we went from there. The good news is, and the city can be painful to work with, we have a person now. We have a direct person that we can talk to related to this issue. So we're not bouncing all over the phone, trying to find the right person. We have a consistent line of communication now between the city, between our irrigation company, and our department. So that's good news. So now the woes. Yeah.
Could you clarify what the issue is with irrigation? Where is it?
The issue is with irrigation around this entire building here, this main building. Bottom line, we don't have any water supply. And I'll talk through the kind of the why, self-discovery. So first, first, this is us out there digging a hole, and basically you're looking out on Woodlawn, right about where we thought it would be, because there were some telltales there. Some steel plates were out there, some wooden things covering holes, which after the thought is a very serious situation that we're going to fix differently. So first is discovery. So we've been out there digging, and if think about it this way, we're digging in an area that ultimately ends up being 4 feet deep, okay, in a lot of places. So first thing we got to find is the water shutoff. And there's the water shutoff. We found the water shutoff, okay? If you look closely, though, what do you see? Water. Okay, it's not flowing water, but there's water, okay? It's a trickle. I call it a trickle. So we do have, we're pretty sure this is the main for our irrigation. The issues with things like this, though, is it's 4 feet down, 1. 2, when it's undug, we find out that the handle to it has been broken off at some point. So all you have is a stem sticking up where the individual in that first picture is basically taking a piece of vice grips and reaching as far as he can and trying to turn it on, kind of thing. So small problem, big problem. Second, yeah, that is water, but it is just a trickle. Even with it being open, full open, things like that, we have a trickle. So to us, that means there's another problem somewhere else, either further up. It has to be further up the line. We know that. What we do know, though, is we know where the 8-inch main for the city comes. It's right down in the middle of Woodlawn, running east to west. So we know where that is. So at some point between there and our supply, there's a problem, and the city's aware of that. Well, that's the flow meter, okay? Separate meter for irrigation, that's the flow meter, and the reason we're looking at that picture is because the gauge will show if we have flow or not, okay? We don't have any flow. When we turned that on, our hope was that things would just start shooting up in the air. I really wanted that to happen, because then I'd have at least another starting point to work from. So that's the gauge. And then finally, we do have a double check valve there. We do have the backflow preventer. So we have all of the things necessary to move forward. We just have that last step of finding the source. And thank you. I'm renaming myself the Water Whisperer, okay? So we don't have the irrigation fixed at this point. The team is diligently working on it. Simultaneously, when we turn on the water at the coves, we found a major break in Cove East. We found a major break at Cove West, and we have to fix those issues simultaneously, okay? So another self-discovery, apparently during that one deep freeze, things popped. So we will be working on that also. At some point, you may see backhoes out there, out back, depending on where we need to go next, kind of thing. A lot of hands are coming up.
Tim, you might mention we have a meeting set with the gardens.
Just FYI, next week, I believe? Next week, we do have a meeting set up with the Garden Committee, and these are some of the things we're going to talk through. Not only the pain points from the residents' perspective, but from our perspective, too. Just so everybody, we're being as very transparent as we can with these situations. And I saw a hand way, way in the back. Go ahead.
Where there's irrigation water, there are mosquitoes. Is one taking care to empty and cover those so that they do not breed?
Well, one of the things that's going to happen after the fact is these, I'll just use the double check valve, the flow meter, and the main shutoff for the irrigation. All that needs to be pulled up at a higher level, approximately 18 inches to 2 feet below the surface, not 4 feet, okay, first. And then the proper, what do you want to call them? My brain's not working. The proper things so that they're protected and we can open them and we can access them, okay? So there we go. More to come. I really want to see water flowing. Our backup plan is still in place because at the end of last year, I bought a bunch of what they call bladders that you could put around trees, and you fill it with water, and then it does a slow trickle, protects the trees, because we did have some trees that really suffered last year. We also have a drip system that we can improve on, obviously, but we have that available to us. For the meadows and the garden group out there, we made sure that they got some new hose reels. We made sure they got some hose that they could actually pull and use, lighter weight hoses, watering cans, things like that. Trying to have everything in place if we don't get that water on, kind of thing, okay? And we'll be very diligent with it.
And the cove water, I think they just do water hoses, right?
The Coves is on an irrigation system, and this one actually is going to be easier because we have real drawings and we know where we pretty much know where the breaks are in this case, okay? So the Coves are a lot easier. Remember, originally I'm looking at blueprints from 1964, trying to figure out first where the water came in, and then moving forward from there, because over the past 30, 40, 50 years, there's been additions to the system, there's things that have been vacated. The original water system for Woodlawn, I'll just use it as an example, visualize the bus stop wasn't there at one point, so you had grass there with heads and stuff like that. That whole street was lined with sprinkler heads, grass, and or plantings and things like that. So at some points, pieces of it were vacated. We just got to figure out where those pieces fit this big puzzle, okay? And we're determined to figure this out because I am the irrigation whisperer. I'm gonna keep saying that. Next steps, drip system, city, mental illness, heat wave. That is all I got. I really want to thank publicly Nate, because I had a little health thing last week, and it was not planned, so I was off a whole week, and he really stepped up and made sure things kept happening while I was gone. So he's not here, but when you see Nate, say thank you, okay?
Thank you. Never a dull moment in your department there, Tim. All right, Jill will have a little information for us.
Good morning. Things are very busy in the sales department right now, and I'm successful in no small part thanks to all of you. Whether you're having full-scale meals with guests or whether you're having spontaneous Q&As with them in the hallway, I can't thank you enough for that. I think that's the best information, and usually it's the most informative part of the tours that I give. At the risk of talking myself out of a job, I think you probably give more in those few brief exchanges than I do in the hour or so that I'm with prospective residents, so thank you very much. We talk about occupancy in two ways. The first is how many apartments we have that are available and ready to be moved into. And the second is how many apartments we have available overall, whether or not they're ready to be moved into or not. So for the former, the apartments that are ready to be moved into and are unsold right now, our occupancy is 95%. And for those that are not ready to be moved in and vacant right now, our occupancy number is about 85%. We like to tell the first number when we're talking to people outside the community. And then last but not least, we have a couple of major projects underway, one on the 10th floor of the Lakeside building and one in Cove West. And we want to thank you also for bearing with us with the jackhammering and all the resulting noise as a result of those projects.
Thank you. Do you have a question? Do you want to answer a question over here? Rita?
I'm just wondering how the 95% translates into actual units. What units do we have that are unsold?
We have about 5, and that includes 2 guest suites. So those that are ready to be moved in now, there are 5 all in, and the guest suites. are included in that number.
And what's the size of those units, and just in general, are they all some studios, one bedrooms?
Couple large studios and a one-bedroom, yeah.
Thank you. And I have Kristen. There you are.
Yeah, it's here. Good morning. Thank you for giving me a couple minutes here at your meeting. Can everyone hear me okay? All right, I've got a PowerPoint about some happenings from the last month at the Hearthstone and a few things that are coming up. First of all, we've started pickleball. We have a core group of 6. There will be 7 or 8. Some are traveling. It's Thursdays from 2:30 to 3:30. So we'll be over there today. Lance and I will both be there. So if you are a beginner and you don't really want to compete, but you'd like to see how pickleball feels, come on over. We have 3 courts, and one of them sits idle. And so Lance or I would love to just hit with you a little bit and give you a feeling for it. This has been extended through June. After that, the weather's too beautiful. We'll come back and look at doing this again in the fall, because right now it's on the indoor courts at Green Lake Community Center. The Trishaws are coming out. It's warming up out there, as Tim talked about. The bike path around Green Lake is complete, and Lance's last day is tomorrow. Now, he's not the only one who knows how to drive the Trishaws, but he's scheduled some time tomorrow from 1:30 to 4:30 to take you out. Here you can see this very intrepid person we had in the health center who wanted to go all the way to the Rose Garden, and so Lance took him up there. And that was in the rain. Now, we've had tons of music. The Mike Fast Trio, did you come for them? They were outstanding. They're coming back in July. They will not have their clarinet, they'll have their fiddle player. But that's okay, he's awesome too. More Thursday night music. This group was a jazz trio, and they were good, but what was really exceptional was the piano player. The piano player is part of the Big Little Band. She is coming back May 16, that's next week, with her husband. And it's not to be missed. This will be next Thursday, 7 p.m. The Big Little Band. More music. Okay, these were the Wiretappers. They were a ball. Then we have the Singing Circle. This happens every Friday, but Rita Smith and her group went up to the 4th floor 2 weeks ago, and the turnout was huge. It was a lot of fun. So that's the new venue for May, and then we'll probably switch, maybe head outside after that. Thank you, Rita. These two, was anybody in the room to see these two? Was anybody there? These two are extraordinary. They're backups to the Seattle Symphony and the opera. They're in multiple chamber music groups. They have odd hours because they have small children, so it's hard to get them here during prime time. But they said that they can come back on an evening, but it just won't be a Thursday. So when you see this picture on a flyer, don't miss it.
They were great.
Yeah, they're extraordinary, yeah. Musical bingo. This is what this is what musical bingo looks like every week. It started with a group of 5 or 6, and now it's up to about 25. And yes, there is dancing. Oh, that's not working. But you don't have to dance. That's just for people who can't stand sitting still. We have therapy dogs throughout the building. This group comes 3 times a month to the light, sometimes more. The health center, Deanne is just doing fantastic things in the health center. The programming is really exciting. New stuff in May. We have 2 new kinds of movement or dance. One was yesterday with Linda Robinson. She's doing her Tai Chi Chi on the 4th floor. And the other is Luisa Marquez, who will be, I don't know if you've ever seen her dance, but her hips do things I can't even understand. She is going to teach our show cumbia dance, which is a Latino kind of dance, I think originally from Colombia, but also popular in Mexico. That'll be in the Bridge next Monday at 3:30. Games. So we're gonna, on Wednesdays, there will either be musical bingo or games. And the idea really is to emulate the fun spirit we have at Musical Bingo with a different subject. So it'll be a different game each time until there's one game we land on that people say, yeah, we want this again. So if you enjoy playing games, come out. You never know how big and fun this group could get. Travel and taste, this is new. Grace Ott, once a month in the Top Hat, will have food and drink from a certain country, and you'll watch videos and do trivia and such about that country. We already do this in the licensed areas once a week, and it's a huge hit. The first country is France. We went for a softball. But while you're there, you can say, hey, let's go somewhere more exotic. And then poetry class, we're gonna have Kathy Ross back to teach 3 sessions starting May 29. And please don't forget the second Saturday social. That's this coming Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll have coffee and conversation. The first one was a big hit. There were 23 people there, and one of them was a man. Is that your point? More men, yes. The topic last time was, where were you born? Super easy, but boy, did we learn a lot about each other. The topic this week will be, what was your first job, or your worst job, or your best job? It's gonna be fun. And in June, look forward to some bocce ball and cornhole over at the lake. You might wanna come out on Friday afternoons for that, because bocce and cornhole will be in the Hearthstone Olympics that will be in July, right? So come on out, get your practice in, and then we're gonna have a watercolor class. So something for the artistic side, maybe 3-part watercolor class, stay tuned. And now for a parting riddle. Why don't you see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're so good at it. Take your time and think about that.
All right, nobody can claim being bored around here. There's plenty to do. Thank you. All right. Thank you to all the management team who took their time to be here this morning. And we will move on now to some of our local information. And I think I'm up. Standing in for Terry. Terry Pointer, who's from Cove East.
And we would love to have the chairs come to this mic unless Elaine's given a report, just so we get you on camera. And if not, if you can't come up, we will bring you a mic. We do want to get you on our recording.
Thank you. Yes, and be prepared for your turn. It'll come in order, so when you're coming up, be ready. So we keep things moving. All right, highlights from the dining committee. The birthday dinner was well received. Everybody enjoyed the Chilean sea bass. There's going to be a special Mother's Day dinner. I think that's this coming Sunday. Cinco de Mayo has already happened. Let's see. National Pie Day, May 13. International Tea Day, May 21. And National Smile Day, May 31. I'm not sure how those relate to dining, but we'll find out, I guess. All right, the Happy Kiosk results. February was 80%, March 78%, April 76%. So there's sort of a downward trend. So don't forget, if you enjoyed a meal, if you thought it was exceptional, if you thought it was good, put in those positive comments. Don't just put the negative ones in. They like to hear the positive ones too, so to know what people like. So do your bit on that one. The left side menu will have a refresh for summer. The summer salad, we'll see what that is. Bistro's doing very well. Baker continues to create new items, such as the lemon blueberry cake. They're going to have ice cream again. And let's see. John expressed appreciation for all the comment cards. Sometimes a resident may eat something and later report that they had a stomach ache. If that occurs, residents should let him know for follow-up, because if there was more than one person having the same issue, then he can look into any potential problem at that given meal. Soon an online catering system will be available. It will list what the Hearthstone can provide as catering options for floor meetings, special events, etc. Regarding the staffing, there will be 8 to 9 students who are seniors and will be leaving for college. And of course, they will be replaced. So if you know of any of those seniors, know who's leaving, please give them an extra thank you, because we won't be seeing them anymore and we kind of miss them after a while. So gratitude again for all the work that they've done. All right. So next we'll hear from Sharon and I guess Rita, giving us an update on the new newsletter that's in the works. First edition due out July 1, I believe.
It is. Our first edition, thank you. Sorry. Our first edition is going to be July 1. Can you hear me now? And it's called Voices, so it's the Hearthstone Voices. We're very excited to be putting this together and getting it out again. I'm the editor for content, and if you're interested in putting some things in, submit them to us via our new email address called voices@Hearthstone. We'd really appreciate it. And Rita is our production assistant, who's amazing. She can talk about what she's doing.
Basically, we're saying that it's going to be in your boxes by July 1st, and you need to submit the content, and then I'm going to be the one, when the content is organized, to make sure that it gets to you with the very important assistance of Kristen in resident engagement, because she's the staff liaison who's going to be working with the company that actually does the final design and printing. So that means that deadlines are important. So you'll only have the edition if we have enough articles and can get them together, and the deadline is?
June 5th.
June 5th. So, and then I'm also happy to report that we have an addition to the publications team, and that is that Nick Johnson has agreed to be the editor for the Journal for longer pieces. So go ahead and submit pieces of any length, although if you want them to go into the monthly edition, they need to be limited as is described on the more detailed sheet that you should have gotten, but 200 to 300 words. But if you have a longer piece, or if we decide that this is something that might work best in the Journal, we'll talk with you, and then Nick will take over, and we'll have a quarterly journal. So you'll hear more about how that's taking shape.
Thank you, and I hope to see lots of information coming in. Thank you.
Thank you. It'll be exciting to see what you come up with. So everybody do your bit. Get your articles in, maybe a few pictures. All right, the next item is the dining room entry furniture. I have called this the couch committee. And they have really completed their work. And in case you have not been up in the dining room, which probably doesn't apply to most people here, but the new furniture is here. In my estimation, it looks very good and it's very comfortable. It's easy to get down and up again. So if you haven't tried it out, do that and say thank you to that committee. And I'll say thank you to, now I think they did a great job. All right, Sylvia is here to give us a little update on the gift shop.
I know several of you are wondering why I'm here, maybe. Off the record, Tim was supposed to have surgery. He was all prepared for it, and the doctor came in and said, "I'm sorry," because another doctor had called. He had been on some antibiotics, and he needed to have a test after the antibiotics, and they wouldn't do it. So anyhow, that's why I'm here, and he's here. Okay, as far as the gift shop goes, it's going very well this year. We are ahead for the year in figures, and last year, as I think I perhaps told you, we did about a little over $18,000, and so let's keep going, and hopefully we'll have another good year and better. There's summer things that are coming now that I have a lot of fun hats and things like that, and a few other things that have come in. I had some travel things that have come in. So take a look, especially before you go on a trip. There might be something there you like. And then there's one other thing I want to say, which doesn't have to do with the shop, but we're having a special fancy coffee party on May 17th from 2:30 to 4 in Water's Edge. And there'll be everybody, we hope everybody will come, not just Norwegians. And there'll be all sorts of home-baked goodies, Norwegian-style goodies, and some fun will be going on. So I hope that you all come. I think you've all gotten invitations in your mailbox, and there also will be a reminder on the table the night before.
I have a question.
Yes?
Is the $18,000 gross or net?
That's the sales.
Okay.
Yes, and actually, I think Hearthstone's figures are more like 20,000, but it's a little difficult. We're not sure. Some of that might have been from last year. Some of it I only have the record that I get from what the gals who work in the shop write down. And sometimes not everything's probably written down. So the 20,000 might be better, might be more accurate. But yeah, and remember, sales are, half of that we pay for the merchandise. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. And Don will give us the entertainment coming up.
So before I begin, I want to tell you that I was not paid to say this. I was not in any way. But I want to tell you that sitting here today and listening to all of the reports of our management and staff, I'm just sort of blown away by how well they work hard to enrich our lives. All of what you've heard is for us. And I just, as one person, I just want to thank from our CEO all the way down through the staff. I just want to say thank you. It'll be a nice lunch somewhere, right? Okay. But in specific terms, I am here to tell you about the wonderful movies that continue to flow out of the movie committee. We are in the middle of a month in which we have Saturday movies, which are British comedies. I think the next one up is Monty Python's Life of Brian. And we also have on Tuesday nights a group of musicals, and I believe the next one is South Pacific. So that's this month. Next month, this is really exciting for me. As you know, June is Pride Month, and so we will continue the emphasis that we had last June on Pride Month, and wonderful Rita Smith, who seems to be in everything around here, put together a wonderful list of films that we will show on Saturday nights. There are 5 of them in June. And we also will have another Tuesday night theme, which is, I will call War/Anti-War. And it is 4 different pictures of what war is and what statements are made about war. To give you an idea, we're starting with MASH. We then, we're starting with Saving Private Ryan. And then we're going to MASH. This is in chronological order by war. And then Dr. Strangelove. And then a movie that probably many of you have not seen called Eye in the Sky. This is about future wars. So it'll be an interesting June, as all months here are, in this room and at the Cove as we show movies. Finally, I wanted to mention that not only are the Hearthstone Olympics happening, I didn't know about that until this morning, but the International Olympics, that quadrennial event, is happening in Paris in July. And to celebrate the Olympics, we're going to have a rerun of Boys in the Boat. That's all from me.
Thank you, Don. All right, we will move on to the floor and building chair reports, and we will go in order, starting with the 4th floor. So as I said, be ready when your turn is coming up so that we can keep this moving along, because we have another meeting after this meeting. So we'll start with Eunice on the 4th floor.
We had 2 move-ins, Joan Thurman and Dick Sater from the Cove.
Thank you. 5th floor. Laurel? Nick is doing the job.
Yeah, Laurel had to go to the doctor, so there's one person has moved to the health center. We have 1 case of COVID, and we have 1 person that just left for the hospital today. She's having some surgery. And for those who don't know, Bev Larson's artwork has been removed from our lounge. And if anybody has any artwork that they would like to put up, if they will contact Laurel, she will make sure that it gets posted in the right place.
Thank you. 6th floor. Do we have a rep from the 6th floor? Oh, back there. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Paul, and we had 1 resident move down to assisted living, and otherwise things are status quo. We're having a good time, and we have game nights on the last Friday of the month, which keeps my wife happy. So there we go.
Thank you. Isa from the 7th floor.
The 7th floor is happy to welcome 4 new people, and Maria and Rich Brooks, and Jean and Rob Bowman. If they are here, could they stand up so we can see them? Other than that, all is well on the 4th floor.
On another matter, the hobby room has been cleaned up by me, Barbara Davenport, Barbara Gambetti, Judy Fawcett, and Jean. And if you haven't been down there, it looks quite different. So everything's organized. You can get art supplies. The buttons are organized, the thread, wrapping paper, ribbons, cards, and the jigsaw puzzles. Please come down and borrow the jigsaw puzzles, and if you have too many on your floor, there's actually room to store some more. Now, lastly, the sewing machines don't work very well. How many people would like a working sewing machine down there? One? That's it? I can't see behind the post. Two. Okay. So I guess we'll have to see about that. And that's, any questions about the hobby room?
It looks bad.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Isa. Yes, I have been down there just to check it out, and it does look fabulous. Thank you for doing that. All right, we are on the 8th floor, sorry. 8th floor. Who's here? 8th floor? Going once? Going twice? All right, Pam, 9th floor.
We have no ins or outs on the 9th floor. We're all stable so far. We do ask your special prayers, though, for Bob Nerup, who is very, very ill, and prayers for Penny and their kids, too. And so the priest is coming to deal with him tomorrow, so keep him in your prayers.
Thank you. 10th floor.
I'm more than a little wobbly because I had a huge COVID shot reaction. Anyway, so 10th floor, we're sprucing up. The carpets have been all cleaned, and the far hall is being painted, as somebody said, in preparation for our rich new people to come. Not sure what that means, but anyway. And and then we had a party for Lee and Marcia, and they've moved to the 3rd floor, and we miss them, but they come up and visit a lot. So that's great.
Thank you. All right, where are we here? Cove East.
There we go. Things are going great at East. We had a Derby Day with fabulous mint juleps, fantastical hats, and wonderful cookies and fruit from the dining staff. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Alice from Cove West.
We have a remodel going on. We're combining 2 apartments on the 3rd floor. That seems to be going kind of slowly. I don't know what the timing is on that. Dick Sater has moved from the 3rd floor over to assisted living. And I just remind people that the gate to the Cove Gardens is open on the Latona side. So come on over. The garden is looking fabulous. This morning about 7 o'clock, I saw 2 rabbits. I don't know if that's good news or bad.
Thank you. All right, thank you everyone for your reports. Before I think we are finished. Is there anything else for the good of the order? All right, I would request that all of the floor and building chairs, would you hang back here for just about 2 minutes after this meeting? We have one quick item to deal with, just a little formality, and then we'll be and you can go and get ready for the next meeting. So, do I have a motion to adjourn? Second, okay. We have moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? All opposed? Meeting adjourned at 10:55. Thank you all for coming.